Hello, everybody. You're welcome once again to your favorite podcast, Democracy Games, where we show citizens how to win this game of democracy. Today, we'll be discussing a very crucial, critical topic. This topic we're discussing today, it cause wahala. It go Supreme Courts. They remove people, and they reinstate people. We're talking about the power of the people. We're talking about elections and election observation. We'll be examining our electoral process and why the citizens should be interested in observing their elections and all of the scenario that goes on around it. And guess what? We have interesting guests in the studio today. We have on my far right, Jaafar Abubakar. Big man, what's up? Now say hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I know, right? Okay, Jaafar is a governance and accountability advocate. He's also a fellow of the Open Minds Young Voices program of the Frederick Ebert Stiftung. And to my far left, we have rich Auntie Malliya.
Hello, Orji.
I'm sure you all know Malliya already. She's been on this show before now. Welcome, you're welcome to the show. And now, the one and only Comrade Mma Odi. Let the drums roll. I'm sure you all know her now. Our accountability mama. You see her on TV every time holding the government to account. Say we no go gree.
You don't agree for anybody this year.
Welcome, ma.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
I'm actually in the midst of young people. I've decided I'm a young person today.
Ma, you're welcome. So together we'll be doing justice to this topic. Ma, in a democracy, we believe the power of the people culminates in their ability to select their leaders, people who administer their resources and who execute programs in the interest of people. How do you examine this issue and why is it important for citizens to be interested?
Okay, the essence of democracy is the people. Democracy is for the people, by the people, and for the people. So you can't talk about democracy without talking about the people. An election process revolves also around the people. They establish electoral commission to conduct elections for the people to choose their leaders, because everybody cannot be president. And everybody cannot be governor, and everybody cannot be senator, and everybody cannot be honorable members, both at the federal and state levels. So we collectively surrendered our power to few people to go and represent us, to be our executives at the state and federal levels. And so we want to choose those who represent us. If we have to surrender our power collectively to them, we have to choose them. And you know that when nobody is watching, eternal vigilance is the price for freedom. When nobody is watching, the possibility that the leaders or even ordinary people will do wrong is very high. And that's why when you look at the electoral process, it starts with the people, registration of voters. Who are the voters? The people. And it has the rules guiding it. You have to be a citizen, you have to be 18 years and above to register. Or you have to be origin of a ward or registration center or local council. The people. Everything about registration of voters, how you collect your PVC, how you even get a replacement, everything about it is about the people. So, conducting election, even is the people who are made up of the political parties, those who are winning different political parties. And it's also the people that are candidates. And then we come to the main issue. The people to come out and vote and be voted for and ensure that their votes count, which is very critical. the people to vote and voted for. And that was why the law, Electoral Act of 2022, that was signed into law on the 19th of April 2022 by immediate past president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, that is currently in Abuja today. That was why it stipulated that even before any election, within 90 days, 7 days will be selected to publish the voters' register, so that you and I, if we are registered, I'm sure we are, all of us here, we'll go and check whether our names are there, whether it is correctly spelled out, or where we want to vote is correctly inputted in that register, voters register. Everything about that electoral process beginning is about the people. And then we came in to election observation. Election observation started formally in Nigeria in 1998-99 general elections, when the military left and conducted elections for us. So I may have been in Asia before, and we copied it from them. And we saw that it was used to ensure that votes counted in those areas. And actually when we started in Nigeria, it was also used to ensure that votes counts. And in the beginning of election observation in Nigeria, the politicians respected observers, because they know they tell the truth, and they know what we are doing as observers is to bring value to the electoral process, to ensure that people votes counts and nobody change the people. And we should to ensure that if there are infractions in any polling unit or ward or registration area, the observers highlight it. And it's not only that, the observers also empowered so even if they see anything going wrong, or whether any personnel of INEC is not doing the wrong thing, whether us or the staff are not doing the right thing, they can call INEC officers who will immediately intervene. They used to intervene in the past, and I think they are still intervening. Apart from this 2022 presidential election, so many things were not very right. So, but they also, when they see that the machines they are using, like smart card readers, like beavers, when it's not functioning, observers do call INEC personnel who escalate it and ensure that those beavers or smart card readers are replaced for smooth operations of the election process, elections. So everything about electoral process and elections centers around the people, and it's also the people who made the difference. So if you remove the people, when you look at different stakeholders in the electoral process, if electoral umpire, that is INEC, the security personnel to ensure that nobody came to steal or destroy during elections. And also, the observers are a critical part of it. But when you look at all the stakeholders, the judiciary, there are a stakeholder that stands out. The citizens, voters, political parties are stakeholders, candidates are stakeholders. INEC is a stakeholder, security personnel is a stakeholder. Observers are stakeholders, and judiciary is another important stakeholder. They are actually the ones deciding who wins now. Because why are they deciding? Because we couldn't get it right at the polling units and others. And electoral act, because election of the 2023 general election have also thrown up so many challenges about the electoral act of year 2022. So basically, when you look at electoral process and elections in Nigeria and outside Nigeria and beyond, you see that there are citizens with the people actually, whether it's during campaign, electoral campaign, what happens. And also the election enterprise. During election, So many buying and selling of different kinds. People selling conscience, selling votes, and also people doing genuine enterprise during elections. Like when you observe election, you are being paid a stipend for your transport or for your snacks. A lot of money go into it. And even funders, those who fund those observations, are also stakeholders in the list of stakeholders. So when you interrogate all these different stakeholders, you see they are working one way or the other for the people. And elections observation is very critical because they are the ones to ensure that people's preferences and choice is what, and those they vote for, is what is counted and announced as results. Because when people vote for their candidates of choice, and you decided to do what happened in year 2003 during Obasanjo, they destroy and kill and carry announce, or what happens in year 2007 when people were voting and Iwu was announcing results in Abuja, or what happened in year 2023 when people voted and they were criticised by Professor Yakub Mahmoud. So you see that without election observation, nobody will even know what happened. That, for example, in Enugu, even by 2 p.m., nobody has cited any INEC personnel or materials. The whole of Okpara Square was filled with people who came as early as 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to cast their votes. And there was no INEC or personnel or materials for them to vote. And it was observers that were showing. I was also observers that were showing, even in Abuja, that INEC Inc. refused to work. When we were observing our Abuja elections last year, observers were actually breaking their bylaws, giving them to use and complete and vote. And many places you will see observers teaching INEC personnel, this is how to do this, this is how to do that. Observers do a lot of good work. But because observers their reports has helped some politicians to reclaim their mandate, then politicians have also decided to create their own observers. Those ones, they don't go to any field. I was in Ekiti year 2022. We were, Osun year 2022, July. We were observing elections. We saw observers who claimed they were registered. And they were carrying government vehicles around and all that. They actually went and reported us in one of the polling units that we are fake observers. Wow. So, but when the soldiers came, they said, I used to see this woman on TV. And these are your fake observers. So they just went away. And so what if they don't see me on TV? And because others would be, they didn't know them. So, and you see, they would have arrested us that we are fake. Meanwhile, the people who reported us are fake observers. And it boils down to INEC. The kind of observers they register, they too have interest by registering fake observers that can be speaking for them when they rig elections. They are not totally bad, because they got elections, governorship elections of year 2022 in Edo and Ondo rights. They also tried in year 2022 in Ekiti and Osun. But they were building up, preparing to rig elections in year 2023. So when they do well, we praise them. Like I met one of the INEC directors in Osun. He said, Madam, I watch you on TV. We say we did well. God bless you. You've been abusing us before. I say, when you do bad, I abuse you. When you do well, I praise you. So you choose what you want to hear. So, but now, this conversation can be expanded. That citizens, actually all of us, need to take interest in citizen observation of these elections. Now that we have seen that election observation and observers have their own limitations, they are fake ones, they are real ones. But if you are like, when you come out to vote or you're near in your polling units, you're in your house, you can vote and observe what is going on there and report to you people that have apps that collect information from different citizens across the country. You can vote and say, where I am, because they are supposed to have minimum of like 4 security personnel, either police or civil defense The soldiers are not supposed to come near the polling unit, but they're supposed to stand a bit far, watch in case if they are bad, they talks, political talks, if they want to perform the magic so that they can arrest them. But like somebody you can observe, a citizen can observe in your polling unit and send to the app and say, this my polling unit is in this village, is in this community, is in this council area, is this ward, is this registration center. We've not seen any security personnel. This is 2 p.m. or 12 p.m. or 11 a.m. We've not seen any ANEC personnel or ANEC materials. Okay, this is when they came up. You keep on updating. They came on this time. This is where, because you are supposed to observe whether the ANEC, the conduct of ANEC personnel, and when they arrive, when they whether they close on time, because your ANEC supposed to stop receiving new voters by 2 p.m. But if there are anybody that is in the queue before 2 p.m., the person must vote, even if it takes to 6 p.m. But those who sleep in their houses and decide to come by 3 p.m., they are not supposed to enter the queue. So you are supposed to observe the election process that day, and also how the security personnel behave during the elections. Some of them we have observed that there was actually who coordinate the buying and selling of the votes. You can also report it. And also, if you see people buying and selling of votes, also, if you are in a safe place, you can record them or snap them and send to your center where you collect your report. So election observation that did not start in Nigeria, but started off formally in 1998-99 general elections, have added value to election process and elections. Because election observation do not just start on election day. It starts from immediately ANEC announced, like they have now announced, that the by-elections will happen also this year. And they have actually sent circular to yesterday or this week for observers to come and register. Because for you to observe, you must register with ANEC, and ANEC must accredit you. So, but you do not need to register as a citizen observer, just sending information. If we send you an app or we advertise an app, if you see anything, say something. So you don't need ANEC accreditation, but you need ANEC accreditation to go around and wear observers tag or a t-shirt or something. If you want to do that high-level observation, you must be accredited by ANEC. Some also, we have both foreign and local observers. Foreign ones are those who come from outside. They come from different countries, either Africa or West Africa or Europe or America, to observe our election. Election is a big issue and serious issue for that matter. So people are interested. They want to see whether we are getting it right. We got it right in the beginning when the soldiers were the one midwifing the democracy. It was a bit better. But subsequent ones from year 2003, it was a war. Year 2007, they didn't even bother to do war. They just announced their result. But when Professor Jega came in, and with also the signing of Electoral Act of year 2010, that gave financial autonomy to INEC. So they are no longer depending on the president whether to release their money or not. And also with the person who have credibility like Jega, who wants to do something right, we started seeing changes. Now you used to, before, if you go to a voters register of Anambra, you will see Ganifa Oyemi's name there. You will see Ghanaian's name there. But when Jega came in year 2010 and 11, he dumped the old register and carry out registrations of voters new. He developed a new register, and that's what they have been using. The only updates he had in year 2000, I concluded it in year 2011. Year 2011, right? So with the financial autonomy of INEC and also with the smart card leaders, we have something we can reasonably call a bit free, fair, credible election to some extent. Not that they didn't have issues. They actually have issues. But it was not as bad as it used to be. And year 2015 was not was I don't know. I can't say it was an improvement in year 2011 because year 2011 was also better than other ones they organized. But year 2015, so many issues, but it was also better. Year 2019, now we saw that observers were the one who supported rigging. Many of them supported the rigging of INEC. So that's why we call the question to observation. It becomes a criminal enterprise. When INEC rig election, observers endorse it. Security also help to buy vote and sell votes and also endorse irregularity. Except when you are talking to them on one-on-one. They say, Madam, why are you always shouting? We also saw the rigging. You know, when they are not, but in the public, they say everything is okay. Or also, like year 2023, they say don't throw away the baby with the bad water. That's what they tell me always. They come in, I come, we can't throw away. There are so many great successes that happen. Have you ever seen people, former governors defeated as aspirants for candidates for senatorial seats? It happened this year. Why are you going to say everything about this election was bad? I said, okay, so start with, since I've been observing elections since year 2000, since 1998-99, no, they didn't give me hope that they want to do something right. Iwu never gave me hope. I've always hoped for the worst under Iwu. But Yakub gave me hope in year 2020, Edo and Ondo, year 2021, November in Anambra, year 2022, Ekiti and Osun. He gave me hope. I was seeing hope. I was seeing something being done differently. So we were hoping to see a better presidential election. Then he came from 100% to 5 minus 0. And you say I should clap for him. Anywhere you see a difference like Abia State, the people who made the difference are the citizens and also the returning officer. Those are the ones who made the difference. So I cannot, somebody like in 2019, people were ready to die in Kano rerun elections. You can't accredit it to, I say it was INEC. It was not INEC, it's the people. People always make the difference. So when the people make the difference, like, Osun year 2022, I saw people who did not even come to vote. And when it was the counting of votes, they were there. If you count anything that is not here in that ballot box, here we borrow. The people always make the difference. So if the people make the difference, you should not say it is Mma Odi that makes it. It's the people. The people decide. And the people is the one that will save this democracy. Because I was part of those who fought against military rule. And we know we paid deadly price for it. And many people died for fighting for civil democracy in this country. And the criminals that took over are not those who fought for it. The remaining ones of those who, many of them have gone home, but those who fought for it, they barely eat food now. Those are the people who fought for this democracy. The people you see benefiting from it are the military people and those who supported them. Those civilians that say, we are in bed with the military, don't go. The people who pay the price. Like you see Femi Falana talking. So somebody, Ruben Abati, said the other day that this is a very bad country. Femi has been doing a struggle for democracy. Even in this old age, he and his son are protesting together. Is it not a cause? You have, for over 40 years, you have been in the street protesting for democracy. So, in conclusion, we people have to take interest more in this democracy. And for our preferences and election observations, for our preferences and choices to be the outcome of any election, we have to do more. And for election observation, we have to upgrade. We have to show that we have to actually say we are the genuine ones. We cannot say we can't fight ourselves. We must fight ourselves. So we have to say these ones are not the genuine. Whenever I'm in the field and I see an observer that is not genuine, I will say, bros, what if they do here now? Just go your government side, leave our job alone. We have to, the citizens of Nigeria have to rise up. And when we rise up together, collective voice, the umpire will do the right thing. The security personnel will do the right thing. The donors will do the right thing. The political parties will do the right. The candidates will know. Even when they want to campaign, they will not be abusing themselves. You don't have wife, you have children. They will say, this is what we are going to do. They will have to sign a contract with us. A social contract, because why they are there is for the provision of security and welfare, and they cannot come and be abusing and say you have side chick or you want to marry, because if they abuse themselves, when they enter the power, they will not deliver. Thank you.
I told you we got an encyclopedia of Nigerian elections here with us in the studio. Thanks for that. Malliya, I know people did some work around Gender Election Watch and use technology in the last 3 election cycles or 2 election cycles. Can you share more light on that?
Yes, well, the Nigerian Women Trust Fund has a Gender and Election Watch which we conduct. Previously, we just used to have observers who we register with INEC, and then we have a checklist that we give them to check the process of election on election day. Because we are a women-focused organization, we are focused mainly on how women are faring in the elections. So our observers would observe from arrival of INEC ad hoc staff to the close and transmission of results now as it is. So they are supposed to give play-by-play report of what is happening. Previously, we used to have that done on WhatsApp. But this 2023 election, we decided to go digital. So we decided to go digital, and the organization was able to make an app that would aid, so we can get real-time information and also get our analysis done as observers are feeding into that app. So that's basically what the app does. It's just a checklist that our observers are filling in, and then it's aggregating data and giving us real-time information of what's actually happening at the various states where we are observing.
What's the end product of it?
So the end product is to see how women have fared and what recommendations we can give to INEC to better the elections going forward for women in Nigeria and everybody in general.
I've also heard people say that, oh no, women don't like to come out to observe elections because they are scared of violence and all of that. Has that been the experience?
That has not been the experience at all. This general election in 2023, we had a majority of our observers in every state were women, and we had more than enough women. If we even wanted more, we could have gotten more. It was just budget constraints, and all, as Auntie Mma said, it's a lot of finances that goes into election observation. So women are always ready to participate, be it at the polling units to vote. You would see a lot of women are always there at the polling units to vote. Our observers also are majorly women. If we have men in a state, it will not be more than 5 or 10 men at best. All the majority of our observers are women, and they are always quick to deliver. They take the risk of taking pictures, videos where it's necessary, passing across information as it's happening, and they are also very keen on seeing that everything works out. Some of them stayed as late as 1 a.m. In the general elections to make sure that the polling unit has closed before they left the polling unit, just so that they can give information. And just as Auntie Mma said, most times I don't think the problem in Nigeria is that citizens are not interested in the democracy. It's just that they don't know how they can engage. But once they know how they can engage, they are very, very interested in seeing that it is done, if they know what to expect. In the last election, because of all the advocacy that went in with the transmission of results and what to expect, you could see people were personally updating their polling units online to see what is happening in their polling unit. So if we can even better provide a means for people to participate in the elections, to know how they can participate, as she gave an example of the app, maybe apps can be developed where people can give information. The only problem is just screening to ensure
credibility of the information.
How credible is the information, because again, politicians can take advantage of that.
Mr. Jaafar, as an accountability partner, what's your assessment? What has been the experience, and how can technology help?
I feel like one of the reasons why we can speak about a lot of the things that went wrong with the electoral process is because a lot of people, you know, when we talk about the usage of technology in Nigeria, a lot of people are often quick to say a lot of young people
Hmm.
are because young people were quick to leverage technology, but it will not be fair to people that are not deemed young according to certain conventions, people that are maybe either over the ages of 29 or 35, depending on whose definition of youth
Hmm.
you are looking at. I mean, we had parents, we had older people sharing information from their polling units in the lead up to the elections and even the fallout of the elections. A lot of people had partisan parents. I mean, we saw a lot of young people often on different social media apps, often talking about their choices, how their choices differed from their parents' choices, and how it would affect their relationships moving forward. But not many people talked about how people were often very quick to defend their choices, and not just defend their choices, to make sure that those choices that they made actually stood. We had people that would not even INEC accredited observers, just regular voters, go to the polling unit, put it on, say, WhatsApp or Facebook. I just voted. This is what is happening on in my polling unit. This is what is going on. The INEC officials are here. They are not here. Security personnel are here. They are not here. Or security personnel are interfering. Or we had real time updates. Everybody that could leverage technology was leveraging technology. So it wasn't just about what young people were doing. It was about the average Nigerian wanting to see that their votes counted, and not just that the vote counted, the process in itself that would deliver the vote from counting to whatever candidate they wanted to emerge was actually going to favor them. Now, things happened. We cannot deny that things did not happen. Things happened between voting and collation and declaration of result. Things happened. And those irregularities are what we are trying to look at to see that in subsequent elections, those irregularities are reduced to the barest of minimums. I mean, there's a reason why in statistics there are always margin for errors and everything. No system is perfect, like 100% perfect. But we can do with a 99% perfect system. Let's know that the irregularities that happened during the election are as a result of things that we could not
Not
control.
control.
Not things that we could control. And I feel like this is where the nexus of politics and the economy comes into play. I worked in a data collation center during the elections, and I remember having a conversation with the person that was seated beside me, and I said the sole reason why vote buying is very attractive is because as Nigerians, basically we're still trapped at the lowest rung of society. We're in a survivalist mode. Beyond, ask yourself when you wake up in the morning, do you think about what can I do today that will change? Like not a lot of people wake up with the mindset that what can I do that I want to think so big that even me, I'll be shocked by my imagination. The average Nigerian is thinking survival. What am I going to have for breakfast? The money I have today, is it going to be enough to carry me throughout the day? And even if it carries me today, would I sleep well knowing that tomorrow what I have in my pockets can carry me tomorrow? You have people thinking, oh, thank God I'm not sick, but what if I am sick? Like, we're trapped in that cycle of thinking survivalist. So it doesn't leave that much room for us to think beyond our base instincts. And that is why things like thuggery, things like vote buying are very attractive. Because you walk to your polling unit. Maybe you're someone that earns minimum wage, 30,000 naira. You walk to your polling unit and you're about to you want to cast your vote for the candidate that has appealed most to you and has outlined whatever it is that they intend to do for you, and you're like, this person is my choice. Then you get to your polling unit and somebody offers you your salary, your monthly salary
For your vote.
to vote this person. It would take, and this is where I feel like a lot of people are not so truthful to themselves. It would take the strongest of saints to reject that offer. Because here I am thinking about how I am going to survive on minimum wage till the next payday. And somebody just comes and offers me immediately my salary. Now, that's not to say that there are people that will reject it because their conscience is clear, their integrity is high, they cannot be bought. But those people are the exception, not the norm, because of where we are currently. But where we want to be is, we want to be a society where people like that will be the norm. And people that would accept bribes for things will be the exception. It should be a society where you look at somebody that is accepting fees for extortion or fees to commit thuggery as, like, are you serious right now? Not a society where somebody's vote is being bought and you have people that will rationalize it because they either do not know better or that is where they are currently stuck at. A life cycle of survival. So it doesn't, for them, they don't see beyond that space. And that is why these things thrive. And another reason why you also have issues around accountability and transparency in the process is, for instance, the Electoral Act stipulates that campaign finances should be open. Politicians should not spend beyond a certain amount. There are amounts specified for different electoral positions. But in a situation where you have parties, political parties, pegging the forms for those positions at amounts that are so ridiculous that me and you sitting here right now I cannot wake up and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to my village or I'm in Abuja here. I want to see if I can make a difference in the lives of my constituency. I want to come out to contest for the House of Representatives seat for AMAC federal constituency, which I currently stay in, come 2027, because I do not know if by 2027 the party through which I intend to express that ambition would peg the form for that position at, say, 50 million naira. How many people, now this is a question I often ask, how many Nigerians, they say we are 200 million plus, estimates and everything. How many of those 200 million plus Nigerians will get to see 10 million naira in their lifetimes?
Unfortunate.
Now, what you have done by pegging those forms at those outrageous amounts is that you have robbed certain people the will to dream. They are very stubborn people that will say, I must be this thing. So they'll start crowdfunding, they'll start meeting people, hoping to raise enough funds to be able to afford those things. But you have people that will just...
It's nothing.
In advanced democracies, you have children wake up and say, I would be prime minister in 20 years. And there's a clear pathway to becoming prime minister in 20 years. What do I have to do? I become active in my community. My community people, they know me, they can vouch for me. I join a political party, or where it is obtainable, I become an independent. I become very versed in social issues. I put myself and my face out there. People will know me. And if enough people believe in what I am selling, they vote for me. In Nigeria, you cannot wake up and say in 20 years, I want to be president.
Who you be now?
The ruling party sold forms for 100 million naira for the office of the president. 21 or 23 people bought those forms.
Just hold that thought there. Just hold that thought. He raised critical issues bordering around electoral offenses. all through our election circles, I'm not sure I've seen anyone being prosecuted for any electoral offense. They just do these things and then go away with it. Is it that offenses committed during elections don't count?
Okay. There are three things I want to say about the issue he raised. It's a very complicated issue. The problem is not that we are always thinking, we are just thinking of survival. No. He's a young person, I can even forgive. The problem is that majority of us have lost faith in Nigeria. We don't believe that there is a country called Nigeria. Because in the beginning, people were not asking for money. So, and most of these people who say their votes, some people say for 5,000, that's big one. Many of them say for 1,115. And in Ekiti, they say it's a pot of soup. Which this is 2024, 5,000 cannot even buy fish. So, one, people lost faith in Nigeria as a nation. Two, when INEC improve, politicians look for other ways because they are no longer buying election officers to rig the results in their favor. So with the beavers and smart car leaders, it's making it more difficult for them to buy the election officers, INEC officers that would deliver the result to them. So when INEC improve, politicians look for other ways. That's when they are buying votes. Another issue where people say their votes is that it's a failure of governance. I called one woman in Anambra in year 2017. I said, Madam, why are you not going to vote? She was selling bananas to us. He said, if the Oyibo people didn't give you funding, will you be in this Oka observing elections? I beg, the people I voted for in the past, what did they do? It's a failure of governance. But we have also seen people who rejected their money. We saw women in Anambra. We saw women in Osun. Some collected the money and voted for different parties. We have seen it in a lot of elections. So, you cannot explain it with one argument. No, it's not. It's not about survival. Because 5,000 cannot do anything for you. People just take it. It's just like one man in my town. He said, I will not see them for the next 4 years. Let me even take even if it's 2,000. Let it be something that came out of their body. That's how people think about it. So, you will see during elections, they will go and bring people from Adamawa, Medugri, to go and police officers and the civil defense soldiers to go and monitor, observe, or ensure that the elections, that nobody disrupt the elections. And when they made the arrest, INEC supposed to prosecute. Every day they will be announcing they arrested 200 million people, but no single person will be prosecuted. And that's why civil society organizations have been struggling, and they are making attempts for them to have a electoral tribune that will try this different from the courts. And INEC has consistently, in fairness to them, said they do not have capacity to try electoral and election offenders. And the police too, many, like last year, they went and submitted the list of people arrested. Since 1999 to date, nobody has been prosecuted conclusively and ensure that justice is done. Nobody. And they will announce the names today. Nothing will happen tomorrow. EFCC came and did grass standing in Ekiti year 2022, arrested so many people. Nobody heard about, after the show, media show, nobody heard about it. If they have prosecuted people effectively and conclusively and ensure that those who committed offense during the elections are prosecuted and also ensured that they are given the judgment is also equal to the offenses committed, it will have deterred many others from committing the same offenses. But because nothing has been done to people who committed this offense in year 2003, it has emboldened others to commit similar offense in year 2007 and in year 2023. And because the people who see that carry ballot buses, the rigging starts at the coalition level, from the ward to the ward to the local government to the state. Those are the places the rigging mostly is carried out. And the people who ensure that the rigging takes places in the correction of results, there are masquerade behind them. And those masquerade are the people who have the means, both the means of coercion and destruction and resources, and are highly connected. Because if you want to stop electoral offenses and election offenses and ensure that the offenders are being prosecuted and conclusively prosecuted, you have to go back to the masquerade behind them. You have to catch one masquerade and use that masquerade to show that these things are not right and they should stop. And the tragedy of our situation is that those who get to power are those who perpetrated such things. Grab it, snatch it, and take it. So when you grab and snatch and take it, you will not want to eradicate or eliminate what brought you to power. And that's why the citizenry, now conclusively what I want to say, we need to look at those sessions of electoral at the 2022 and return the power to the people. There's so much power to INEC that enabled it to rig election and defend it. And Supreme Court came and gave them more powers to continue the rigging process. So we need to go back to the books and make sure that this election, both the constitutional provisions and the Electoral Act of year 2002 is reformed to ensure that no more glitches, that INEC, as they are announcing result at the polling units, everybody will be seeing it and taking notes. And there are states they say the election do not happen. I am currently working in Gombe State. I had stories that they don't even do elections. They just do 3 polling units and it is over. So we should ensure the citizens, we should have an act, even across the states, that we ensure that people vote on elections day in all the polling units. And also, and the places that the election observers are not doing well is at the area of correction of results where the rigging happen. We have to take in special interest to observe those election corrections at different levels and ensure that what they were announced at the polling units is what reflects in the ward correction center, the local government center, and is taken to the states. That's what we must do. And we have also to rise, because when you keep quiet, nothing will happen. And we're always starting late. We need to start now. We should have started yesterday, but we must start now as we are doing this, raising our voices collectively, saying what happened last year should not happen again. Because many youths that came out, we used to say that the youths don't come out to vote. They are playing football on elections day. But last year they came out. Year 2022, many will come in, please help me to register. And many came out to register and they came out to vote. They came out to defend the vote. And what happened was not what they voted for. Many of them have decided to go and die in the space and all that, in the desert and everywhere. They are jappering out, even if it's Cotonou or Ghana or anywhere, they are leaving the country. But it's not yet time to leave, because if they leave, we are old, we are already going. We paid one when they were doing, when we were doing year 2020, what is it called? The youth were doing NSAS protests. So I came out, I joined them. One of them was saying, "Mommy, how are you? How are you feeling? What you people refuse to do? We are the one cleaning your mess." I said, all my life, that my daughter have been in this street. You are just coming. And we were so happy that they came. And we were so happy to see the youth, like taking their destiny into their hands, not coming out. Nobody before, if politicians want to do campaign, they go and pay some people to use buses to bring. They use came at some tricks. And you saw what happened in Lagos all over the country. They took their destiny to their hands. We want them to come and be interested in electoral reform. I say in these sessions that said the INEC has to decide whether to upload or not should be made mandatory.
Yes.
It should be made mandatory. And another important session that be looked into is that before they announce any result, all the cases in the court must be concluded. We need to do that to ensure that our votes count, that the preferences and choices of the people are the outcome of every election. We need to do that. And the time to do it was yesterday. We must start. I'm so happy that the youth are interested in this. I commend Orji and PGI that these things is happening. But we need to do more. As we are doing this, let's raise voices. Are you people in charge of social media? Can use it very well and be talking about electoral reform. We need to reform this electoral act. We need to reform the constitution. They must conclude all election petitions before swearing in of anybody. And the judiciary, we must carry the word to them. Now they are the ones deciding who wins or not. So when they announced that the Kano governor had been returned, they say these people they fear because the Kano fire would have consumed their democracy.
I feel like sorry to interrupt you here. I feel like this is where I need to come in, because if there's one thing that we have to do as individuals is that we need to recognize our privilege, and this is something that a lot of us do not really understand. So there's a report that says that 90+ million Nigerians live below $1 a day, and that is why Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world as it stands. And I don't know, I think $1 today is like 1,270 naira, give or take. There are persons that do not have 1,270 naira to their name in a day, and not just persons. And this is also another problem. As Nigerians, this one is something that is peculiar to all of us. We have a problem with numbers because we have been desensitized to the kind of numbers we hear people throw around and everything. 1 million, 2 million, and so we think those things
they're just there.
They're just there. You even hear people saying, I beg 90 million people not too plenty, like that. For context, the population of South Africa is 66 million plus people. That's, to add to that context, we have more people living in poverty than there are people in the Republic of South Africa.
Wow.
So when Auntie said that this is 2023 and she doesn't understand how people can collect a pot of soup or 5,000 naira for their votes, like, I feel like we should understand some of these things. There was a year I traveled home to the village, and I gave some of my relatives. That has stood with me for a long time. It was Salah, and I gave some of my relatives 500 naira. Just shared. I think what I shared was like 5,000 naira. Just shared 500 naira for 10 people. And one of my aunties came back later in the day to greet my mom. Then greeted me
for the 500.
For 500 naira, because she was able to buy ogbono in bulk that they cooked at home, then they were able to store for some days. So to me, 500 naira is nothing. Like, if somebody just comes and squeezes 500 naira into my hand, I will collect it. I'm a Nigerian. I won't reject free money. But I would say, like, 500 naira is life-changing. I won't say 5,000 naira is life-changing. Even 50K self, with where I am, by the grace of God, is something I would appreciate it very much. But it won't be, 50K is not something that you will give me and I will start jumping. But there are people that you will give 500 naira today, and you have solved their problem for 3 days. So when I mentioned the survivalist mode, it was in recognition of my privilege, but also to acknowledge how these things can be rampant. Like, imagine if you have people, majority of the population, that would probably not, they don't need 500 naira. So when you want to squeeze 500 into the hand, and the person looks at it and like,
So by them who understand the value of their votes in relation
like,
to
please
that.
don't insult me.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
as we are seated here now, you want to vote, somebody comes and says, Orji, take this 5k, vote my guy. You will look at the person like, is something wrong with you?
Yeah.
5,000 naira for what? And there's something we say, like, if I want to truly spend money today, now 5k I go spend.
Jaafar, just hold that there. Malliya, what are your final thoughts now?
Well, a lot has been said, and I would acknowledge both arguments as very valid. The poverty in the country is also as
how
a
it
result
affects our
of-
elections,
Yes, it
yeah.
affects our elections. Most times women are even at the bottom radar of that poverty. So you find women are the beneficiaries of, they are the target audience for vote buying. I'm from the Northwest, and in the Northwest, votes were bought with not even money. 1 pack of spaghetti.
What?
People sold their votes for 1 pack of spaghetti. It won't even feed your family, but they were willing. It's something they will eat for that day. So we cannot also negate the aspect of poverty in vote buying. But I also feel it also has to do with a lack of awareness of the problems that we face in Nigeria. If you truly understand the problem and why you are voting who you are voting, you would not sell your vote. The women in Anambra, I'm sure there were a lot of them that are also in that poverty area, but they've suffered a lot probably under the last governor that did not work in the state. So they saw the need that even if we will be hungry, this person has promised to do something. Let us try this other person instead of rewarding bad government. So it goes hand in hand. The poverty is a valid reason, but we need to look beyond that at a point and say, for how long, if we will continue with our poverty, we would never stop collecting peanuts. For how long will we stay at that level? We need to rise above that and say we want something better for ourselves, and we are willing to go hungry to get that thing that is better, so that the country will be better, and eventually I would also benefit from it and get something more from democracy.
All
Okay,
right.
I just want to make a clarification. I agree. I didn't say poverty is not a reason. I say there are other many reasons why people say their votes. In year 2007, nobody was selling votes because INEC was the one buying selling all the votes. It's what because INEC improved. The politicians look for other ways. Now I'm buying votes and selling. So I say that, and also the fact that people have lost hope in the country are because of bad governance, poverty, multidimensional poverty, all of them. But it's not one narrative reason. There are so many reasons. That's what I said.
Okay, people, I really wish we can continue, but get this to your head. We need to rise to the challenge and stand up for our democracy. And I ask you, Nigerian youth, who are you? What are you going to do? Are you going to be a chicken and japa, or are you going to stay back and defend this country that we call our own? This is the much we can take on this episode of Democracy Games. Join us again next week for another interesting episode. And in the words of Lagbaja, God punish anybody who wants to spoil our democracy. No grief for them, no grief for them at all. All right, people, see you next week, and thank you for staying tuned. I remain your host, Orji. Bye-bye.